All right, welcome everyone to today's episode of Is a Prophecy here on Israel National Radio, Root Sheva. And the show is syndicated as the Messiah Hour on YouTube. Go to YouTube and type in Messiah Hour with Ari Louis and subscribe to the YouTube channel. It is free to do so. And of course, I'm on JApp. JApp is a Jewish application which features sharing from lecturers, rabbis, and historians, as well as episodes of this program. And you can find JApp by going to their website, www.j-app.me, or you can download JApp from iTunes and Google Play stores. And, of course, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you can always email me at messiahhour@gmail.com. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is set to go to the United States and speak on March 3rd in front of the Congress, and here to talk about that, a very special guest. We've had her on before. We're going to welcome back to the program. She's a pro-Israel blogger and social media advocate. Her work has been seen on the Jade Post, Times of Israel, Israeli Cool, and Politichick. She has 27,000 followers throughout the social media network. Welcome back to the program, Leslie Ann Stoffel. Leslie, how you doing out there?
Great to talk to you, Ari.
Yes, indeed. So let's get down to it. We're hearing a lot of different, news, I guess you could say, regarding Bibi's upcoming speech in front of the Congress. We know the Congress really likes the Prime Minister. We know the President doesn't like him so much. What is the tension, what is the mood going to be like on Capitol Hill when the Prime Minister speaks in front of the Congress?
Well, it sounds like it's going to be a little tricky here. I heard, I had some inside information last night actually from one of our guys on Israeli Cool who has spoke to somebody in Washington, and actually Bibi went through the correct protocol for this. He responded to Bonner, and I, from what I understand, he was under the impression that the White House knew about his visit. But so what basically it seems to come down to, there's the rift, sort of the rift or whatever you'd want to call it between the GOP and the White House, and they've sort of put Bibi in the middle of it. Now, rising above all that and going to what I would think would be principles above personalities kind of situation is this Iran deal poses an existential threat to the West, to Israel first of all, and because it's a tiny country very close to Iran, and it one bomb and it would be gone. So Bibi has the duty to stand up and speak about that and either, try to strike a deal that would be in Israel's best interest, and of course, not wipe them off the face of the earth. And then the second part of it is America and the West and Western Europe and Canada are at risk as well, because they have missiles that can reach over to America and Canada and also to Europe. And so actually the West is in an existential threat with this. So rising above the petty political issues here, the higher good, the higher issue is that we must stop Iran from getting nuclear weapons to use against us. And Bibi is, to me, he's the Churchill, the statesman of our time, who can stand up, say the truth, know what's going on in the situation, and speak to the people of the world, really, to tell them about this, to Congress first, and the American people in the world. And, I think the greater good in this situation will pan out, will come to fruition, because that is, to me, the real issue here.
I know a lot of people will look at Bibi and say he's one of the few people that's actually fighting Iran on this issue, the issue of the nuclear bomb that could destroy a good portion of the planet, especially at multiple bombs, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Does the Congress look at him as the same way and say, President Obama's really not so concerned about this. Here's at least one world leader who is. And do they have a certain respect for Bibi that perhaps they don't have for the president?
I think that's true, Ari. I do, because from the recent actions and words coming out of the Obama administration and the State Department are actually crazy, nonsensical, and extremely dangerous with their reactions to all this the terrorism and beyond terrorism, the genocide, the murders, the beheadings, all this going around, their reaction to it is alarming people in a big way, and he's losing credibility and losing respect. And Bibi does have that respect from the Congress, the members of Congress, and the American people, because I'm on social media a lot, and I can tell you, people are really behind Bibi, and they really do respect him. And he's a war hero himself, so he knows what he's talking about, and they know he does. And people understand that this is the one and only Jewish state in the entire world. There is nowhere else for the Jews to go. And that's what I'm trying to get across to people. Look at how anti-Semitism is rising over the entire world. Now, I'm not saying that Jews have to leave wherever they are or anything like that, but I'm just saying there has to be a safe haven for the Jewish people to go, because look at throughout all of history, if there isn't, the results of that are disastrous. So yes, I do believe that the American people are behind Bibi, and they're behind Israel because they realize that they share the same values. They're the only democracy in the Middle East where everybody can live with democratic principles. So when every other country around them is literally exploding. So yeah, it's interesting, and I wrote in my article in Politics setting it up, and this is how I see it, that Bibi really is the Churchill. He is the voice, the Churchill of our times, that is warning the West, warning people about this threat. It's a multi-pronged threat too. It's not even a one-shot deal, because Iran is trying to gain hegemony within the Middle East, and they are funding terror proxies around Israel, and even doing terror attacks and things against Israel, all the while that these Iranian talks with America are going on. So I find that insane. I really do. And I just want to point that out.
One of the things I want to talk about, you touched on this a little bit, the president referred to a recent terror attack as, quote, random, and this involved Jewish people. And, I mean, even some of President Obama's supporters, especially his Jewish supporters, kind of turn on him. Can you just touch a little bit more about the president's comments? Because he could have gotten out of it. He could have said it was a mistake made by his staff members, but he came out and said, no, I do believe it's random, when if you take a look at it, it's really not random. So tell us a bit about it.
Well, the way that I see it is the underlying subtext on that is the moral relativism. President Obama does not have a Western viewpoint. He views the West as bad and the Islamic movement as good. And he also sees, in that case, he doesn't use moral relativism. I mean, he puts us in a bad light and them in a good light. And but when it comes to when he speaks about these attacks, terror attacks and things like that, he does use moral relativism, and he puts these atrocities on the same playing field as just everyday occurrences, that say Christians might do or whatever. He mentioned the Crusades at the prayer breakfast. So again, it's very alarming to have this sort of enemy at the gate, kidnapping people, cutting off heads, wanting to do genocide, and to sugarcoat it and not call it for what it is, and actually have a strategy and want to go after it and destroy it, basically. So this is alarming, and people are worried. When I talk to people and do my social media interactions, people are very worried about his mindset when it comes to all of this. They're very concerned.
When the president says this is like the Crusades, in that different factions have the radicalism, is he trying to say that it's not a big deal? Is he trying to say ISIS is not such a big deal because he's saying,
yeah.
Hey, don't get so mad. The Christians had the Crusades. Now the Muslims have ISIS. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, that's what he's trying to do. I think he has to continue to back up his world view, because he's standing on the world stage and he's continually told us all these years how peaceful and great Islam is. Now, once again, I care for the Muslim people. I don't have anything against them. There are people that are Muslims that live perfectly peaceful lives. I have friends, I know people in Israel like this, but we're talking about the jihadists, and he has to somehow sugarcoat it and downplay it so that he wants to bring their agenda forward. And the only way he can do that is by continually what's called gaslighting us, which is to tell us we're not seeing what we're really seeing. And then we're confused and we're going, well, I don't know, did I see that or didn't I see that? What is this really going on? And so it confuses people and they're not able to think straight. But really, he does want to forward their agenda.
Now, the Prime Minister is set to speak in front of Congress in early March, and we're told that the President will not meet with the Prime Minister at any point for whatever reason. They say it's a policy of the United States presidents to not meet Prime Minister if he's in election. Do you buy that? Do you think that they are adhering to some policy, or is it just that Obama doesn't like Bibi? It seems like that he's never liked Bibi, so tell us what you think.
Well, yeah, I've been reading and a lot about this and analyzing it and trying to figure it out, and I don't buy it because, first of all, the Obama administration sent a team into Israel with taxpayer funding that was going behind the scenes trying to unseat Bibi from the upcoming elections, number one. So that in itself is just outrageous, really. So that completely discredits the whole not getting involved in elections routine. And also, Obama will meet with Saudi Arabia people, he'll meet with all kinds of people who, he even had somebody, I can't remember the guy, it was just really recently, the guy was he was from Africa, and there was some untoward things about him. I'm sorry, I can't remember the details there, but what I'm trying to say is, he'll meet with everybody but Bibi. He'll meet with everybody but the only prime minister of the only democracy in the region and their closest ally. So this to me is highly, highly, highly suspect. I just, it's completely out of the realm of ending, really.
Again, this is a Prophecy here on Israel National Radio, Root Sheva, and the show is syndicated as the Messiah Hour on YouTube. Go to YouTube and type in Messiah Hour with Ari Louis and subscribe to the YouTube channel. It's free to do so. And, of course, you can email me, messiahhour@gmail.com. Leslie, one of the things I guess I'm trying to figure out since, as I mentioned, it appears the president doesn't like the prime minister. That's pretty obvious. I want to know why. Is it because of an anti-Israel slant? Because ever since I noticed since Obama took over, he just doesn't like Bibi. For whatever, he just doesn't like him. What do you think the reason is for this dislike?
Well, I was looking at Obama before he was elected, and he had, and it was a bit fuzzy because they were trying to cover it up, and yet these reports kept surfacing that he was actually close friends with hardline Palestinian activists. He went to that church, that Jeremiah Wright's church that hates America. He wrote in his book that if the winds, I'm paraphrasing, but if the winds started to shift against the Muslims, he would stand with the Muslims. And then he believes that, I think from what I can understand, he believes that Israel is a colonizing entity within the Middle East and have displaced the Palestinians. He buys the Palestinian narrative. He is not. It's because Israel's lumped in with the West too here. He is not pro-Western. He is pro-Islamic agenda. So he's not going to be pro-Israel or sympathetic to Israel because of that mindset.
Now, I remember in 2011, I believe the Prime Minister spoke in front of Congress talking about how close Iran was to a nuclear bomb, and I think at that time he said that it would be the following year. Will skeptics say, this time when Bibi says they're close to a bomb, will they say, well, you said that 4 years ago and they don't have the bomb, maybe you're exaggerating? Are you concerned about that approach at all?
Well, yes, I am. I really am. But I'll tell you, Ari, I'm a news junkie, and I've been watching this stuff so closely, and especially for the last 6 years. And I think it doesn't really matter what the critics say at this point. Um, because as I researched my article, the one I just wrote on Politichicks, I called it, The Great and the Good, Bibi Goes to Washington. I have, documented, I did a lot of research and reading, and I've documented the serious, issues that even Henry Kissinger and George Shultz had about this plan. They're all in the article there. And not just that they'll get the bomb, but also that Obama wants Iran to have hegemony within the Middle East. This is shocking. So at this point in time, really the critics don't hold water. I don't think, because from what I can understand, this is getting very, very serious. And and the Prime Minister has to tell the world exactly what's going on here.
So if Bibi accomplishes his goal, he's going to tell the world what's going on, how close Iran is to the bomb or to multiple bombs. What's his goal going to be as far as what he would like to see happen? What does he want the United States to do? What would he like the rest of the world to do? So talk about that aspect of his goal.
Well, I think I read something the other day that it's not that he's against a deal absolutely. He's just against a bad deal. So he really is open to working this out and working through this, but he has an obligation and a duty to protect Israel, and that's what he's going to do. I'm not so sure. That's a bit of a question actually for me, and I should probably do some more research and reading into that, because I'm not quite sure what he would be looking for exactly, because this is so touchy. I mean, how can you trust them? He knows you can't really trust Iran on agreements and what they say, especially as they're using proxies to attack Israel at the same time as they're talking. So I don't know. I'd actually have to look into that further and give you a better answer.
Yeah, I mean, they've talked about sanctions. I just don't think that's going to work, and maybe I'm wrong, but I think there has to be some type. And again, I'm no military expert, and I never served in the Army, so I don't want to pretend that way. But I feel like the only thing that can get done is some type of military action to actually physically stop them from making the bomb. I just don't think anything else will work.
Yeah. Actually, that's a good point. I believe I read something about that last night, that they were thinking that there needs to be some kind of military action. That could very well be coming down the pike. It's all a bit scary.
It is scary, and it fits in the title of this program is a prophecy, because we talk about if news events fit prophecy or not. I mean, there's certainly concept of a Gog a final war, and this looks like it could lead towards that. Obviously, we hope it doesn't. One last question about the Prime Minister going to Washington, and then we're going to move on to some more positive stories, in my opinion. Now, since this whole thing where the White House said that Bibi violated protocol, then they have a policy of not meeting with the Prime Minister during elections, so they say. I mean, is the President actually not going to attend this speech? This is the Prime Minister speaking in Congress. Is Obama really, really not going to go to make this point that he's so mad about what happened?
Well, given how stubborn he is, and how petty he seems to be about things, it's all about him. I'm guessing that if Bibi really does go, I'm guessing that he won't go. I really do. I don't think he'll go. Obama.
Wow, that's really something fascinating to think about. And if you want to read more about this story, Leslie wrote a story about it in Politichicks. It's been posted on my Facebook wall. Again, the title is The Great and the Good, Bibi Goes to Washington, politicalchicks.com. You can check out that article. And in the few minutes we have in part one, Again, I want to remind everyone that this show is a Prophecy. It's on Israel National Radio, Arut Sheva. The show is syndicated as Messiah Hour on YouTube. So you can go to YouTube, you type in Messiah Hour with Ari Louis, and you can subscribe to the YouTube channel. It is free to do so. And tell your friends about the channel as well, because more people that view the channel, more people that subscribe, higher the videos go up in YouTube ratings and ranks, and then more people find out the show that didn't find out the show, so it's good for everyone. And, of course, the email is messiahhour@gmail.com. And, Leslie, before we go to break, can you tell our listeners where they can find more about your work? We talk about the politics, but where else can they find you on social media?
Oh, okay. Well, I'm on social media at Leslie, LESLIEANN Stoffel, STOFF for Frank EL, and then also Real Clear Israel, and on Twitter at Real Clear Israel. But my website, therealclearisrael.org, has all of my articles and social media stuff and everything right there. So if they go there, they'll find it. I just haven't posted my latest Israeli Cool and Politichik on my website yet, but they can find them on either the Israeli Cool and Politichik websites or on my Facebook pages.
Okay, great. So we're going to take a break, and we'll come back on the other side. We'll talk about if one of our favorite politicians, so talk about, when I say I mean Israel, but from the United States, Mike Huckabee, and we'll talk about some other exciting news. Again, this is a Prophecy here on Israel National Radio. Email messiahhour@gmail.com, and we'll be right back after this.